Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learnings. I'm delighted to be joined today by Kayleigh Manning from Gigs & Co in St Neots. Kayleigh actually asked me that she wanted to come on the podcast, which is only the second time that's ever happened, so thank you. So my first question is, Kayleigh, why would you want to do that? And then
I've been watching, and I think it's great to just listen to people's experiences, why they wanted to get into estate agencies, what roles they do. It's very inspiring, actually.
Fantastic. So congratulations, because today is your 1 year anniversary, I'm led to believe, at Gigs & Co. So congratulations. I don't know whether the cake should be on you or Matt and Gemma, but if Matt and Gemma are watching this, gotta be cakes for Kayleigh on Friday, the 1st of September. Congratulations on your first year. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey so far, how you got into agency. I know you're working part-time at Gigs & Co. I know you do their social media. It doesn't sound like you're part-time to me with everything. I know you've got 2 kids as well, young kids as well, so you've got a lot to juggle. But tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you ended up being an estate agent, please.
Well, very bizarrely, years ago, I used to work for a big IT reseller in London. What I used to actually do there was a sales support role. So I looked after 4 account managers, and my job was to sort of make sure everything was running smoothly, prepare the quotes, attend customer meetings. So I've really come from a big sort of customer focused background already. Then what happened was I decided to start a family. So I have a 5-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy, which is why I work part-time. Obviously, they're at school now. I wanted to get back into something, but not IT. So I wanted a complete change of career. And I actually started originally with a different agent. I thought, I'll give this a go. Never too old to start again, wanted to start a career. So I did just that. Sort of 6 months of being there, I thought, our values were quite different. So I personally approached Matt. We met, and I think, it was green tea that I brought Matt. We had a good conversation. He was saying, why us? I've been watching Gigs & Company for a while. I can see that they've got a really good dedicated team here. And I didn't want to give up on the first hurdle with that not going sort of right with the first 6 months of estate agency. So I thought, I can do this. So I did, and I'm here now, a year down the line. It's gone so quick. Every day is a challenge. I'm learning lots. And I've sort of found my niche, if that makes sense. So
definitely, and I'm going to pick the bones of all of that, what you said, in a minute. But one of the things that I saw when I was doing some research on you was that Matt had put on LinkedIn, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So this is Matt. I've worked in a estate agency for 20 years, and it's taken me decades to realize the best people aren't the ones who sell or even list the most. They're the ones who smile the most, help others the most, learn the most, and implement, and don't know yet how bloody good they are. So we can help them see it. Congratulations, Kayleigh. Okay, which is lovely, and that's in your first few months. So there's loads of things on there to unpack, but tell me about and you said as well, to me when we were talking offline, that you love helping people, and what better way to help than working in a estate agency. So what does love helping people mean to you, and why are you so passionate about helping people?
I think it's important speaking with people on a daily basis, whether that's a buyer when that phone rings, building a relationship, understanding their needs, their whys. Also, it's about trust as well. If they're trusting what you're saying and you're delivering what you're saying as well, they will come back. It's repeat business as well. But you also stand out from the rest of the crowd. You go above and beyond. Don't say you're going to do something and don't follow it through. I think it's a massive part. But I love helping people in the fact that I'm helping people find their dream home, their forever home. They may be first-time buyers trying to get on the property ladder. Seeing it from the journey, from start to finish is amazing. And again, the sellers that we deal with as well, helping them achieve what they want for their home, having that trust. We've got WhatsApp groups set up, which we use as a form of communication with all of our buyers. When that seller calls you directly instead of going through the group, instantly there you've built a relation and a trust barrier with that person. That's great in my eyes, because they will always come back to you and deal with you directly.
Okay, so that's a big thing, trust. Estate agents don't have a good name out there. So how do you build up that trust? Obviously you mentioned that WhatsApp group, and you also talked about getting a client for life, and I couldn't agree more. If you give an exceptional customer experience, then those sellers, those buyers are going to recommend you to their friends, their family, their colleagues, their neighbours. So what are you doing to build that trust and to gain that client for life, please?
So again, like you said, we mentioned about the WhatsApp groups. That's just a group. Anyone can send a message to someone. It's about having face-to-face contact with someone as well. All of our agents here look after certain accounts. It's imperative that we go and see these sellers as well. Every sort of 2 to 3 weeks, we have what we call a vendor update. So that's us visiting them at a time that's convenient for them, to give them an update on their property, how things are going. Is there anything that we can help you with? Just, any concerns, issues. Because I think it's too easy nowadays for everyone just to send a message. Conversations, it's about having real conversations with people. And like I say, instantly, when you're having a conversation with someone face to face, they know who they're talking to. Trust is a big thing in estate agency. And like you said, there is unfortunately a few estate agents. Most estate agents get a bad name. That's all down to communication.
Okay,
communicate, 110%.
I couldn't agree more. And I love the fact you talk about face to face. I think that's really, really important, especially in the market that we're in, having those fierce conversations. I actually think that all offers that people are receiving, agents are receiving, should go to the seller and should be face to face, or if not, at least do it via platform that we're using, Zoom or StreamYard or whatever, and have that conversation and look into their eyes and just see what they feel about the offer, and you'll get a better understanding of where they are. I agree with you. So why do you think texting or emailing isn't great then?
I just think it's too easy and convenient nowadays. A bit like the old scenario, isn't it? All of the kids nowadays are all on their phones, and long the days where someone knocks at the door or you're coming out to play. Half the kids are inside on their Xbox, or it's not real life. Have conversations with people, talk to them, meet them, even if it's just go and have a coffee with someone. I think you'll get much better response with honesty, trust, than someone hiding behind a phone or shielding behind a text message. In my opinion and my experience, not just in estate agency, but going back to my IT sort of days, it goes a long way.
Couldn't agree more. So one of the things that I loved about in the quote from Matt was about learning the most, but more importantly, implementing. So what are you learning? And implementation is a big thing, taking action. So the best agents are the action takers and the learning people. So what are you learning? What tips can you give to people that are watching and listening to this today?
Well, I love a challenge, and I will not be defeated by anything. I will give things a go, and I will do it until I get it right. Training wise, I'm training every day. I mean, everyone that's watching this probably knows Matt anyway, and he will probably love me for saying this, but he's a great mentor. He's got a way of sort of delivering context. If there's something that you're doing not politically wrong, but it could be done a better way, he's very good at that. One of the things is the social media. I've sort of taken the role of looking after the social media for Gigs and Company. It was a couple of weeks ago that I went to London with Matt and Gemma, and it was more sort of how to deliver and create the best videos and context out there for people looking, at properties online, video properties. I've sort of just got into so I'm very new to this, I say new, I've been here a year now. I'm sort of meeting vendors, having strategy conversations. So don't get me wrong, some of the first couple of times I'd done it, it was more of an anxious anxiety thing, but actually no, I just kind of went straight into it and was honest. I told them not what they wanted to hear, but what they needed to know. And again, that comes down to honesty and trust as well. My role is varied. So, I deal with viewings, admin, negotiations, vendor visits. It's crazy all the time, really, really busy. My days, obviously, I'm sort of working 9:30 till 2:30 around the kids. And then obviously I'll go home and do a little bit at home. But as you can imagine, I probably start my day off. Today I've already done three viewings. I've done also a review with a buyer that's bought the property and wants to go around measuring up. I have the pleasure of speaking to yourself this afternoon. And then
it's a real pleasure.
It is. And then I've got, all of my admin stuff to do afterwards. So.
Okay. So look, a couple of interesting things have come out with that. How, you're working part-time, you've got 2 young kids. How do you juggle the family life and the work life?
Good question. I just tend to do it because because I love what I do so much, I never look at this as a job. It's more of a welcoming break, should I say. It's nice to have a purpose in the fact I'm not just mum. I'm Kayleigh, I've got a job, and I work it around the children. Work's very flexible, with sicknesses and if I have to work from home. And I think the message that I want to try and get out there today for people that are listening is, yes, you can do it. 2, a complete change of career for me. You're never too old to start again. And if you've got a drive and a passion for something, just go for it. Just do it.
What a lovely message. Thank you. So you also talked about, I want to talk about one thing about getting started. And actually you talked about coping with anxiety. So whether it's, doing your first videos, whether it's actually doing your first vendor visits, you did it, which was fantastic, and you cope with it. So what techniques can you give to people that are listening that are frightened about getting in front of the camera, that are frightened of coming on Stephen Brown's podcast, that are frightened about, having those vendor visits? What tips have you learned that have helped you, please?
It's funny you should say that, because I would probably 8 months ago would have never even contacted yourself and say, Stephen, I'm happy. Let's do this lunchtime learning together. And that comes down to confidence. I think confidence is key. Not everyone is as confident as, the next person. I think doing your sort of background checks, doing your research before you speak to someone, knowing what you're going in and trying to express is key. Also, just try and relax, be yourself. No one likes a fake pretend person. And I've found actually since I've been here, I am who I am. I love what I do. And I think people can relate to that more.
100%. So you also talked about strategy conversations. I did well to say it there. So what are you, again, this is really important with what's happening in today's market. What are the sort of conversations, if you're happy to share, that you're having with sellers and buyers?
Well, I mean, I'm sure as many of you are probably aware, it's very, very price sensitive at the moment. It is a buyer's market. Um, there's a few. I mean, Matt, bless him, he's sort of stepped in and helped out with holiday cover and stuff over the 6 weeks holiday. There's a few conversations that we're having with properties that have sort of been on the market for a couple of months that haven't sort of shifted. We haven't sort of gained much interest in it. One, that might be because the price is wrong with the current climate that we're in. I don't think it's helped, unfortunately, with the mortgage rates. They've been up and down like a bit of a yo-yo at the moment. So a lot of people are on the back burn thinking, shall we wait? We get asked as agents every day what's happening with the mortgage rates and stuff. And the honest answer to that is nobody actually knows. When is a good time to buy? When is a good time to sell? Now, naturally, sort of come September, when the kids go back to school and stuff, people are working from home and stuff, you will see a fluctuate of increase of viewings and buyers coming through the door because people are actively looking on Rightmove. They're back from holiday, so you'll get a bit of a spike again. That'll sort of even itself out until Christmas again, and then Easter is also another good one. People are, bank holidays and stuff looking, but it's buyers will pay what they want for a property, and our job really is to get the seller the best price for their house, but they need to obviously understand this is the market that we're in. Interestingly, the house prices in this area alone, the PE19 area, has increased 80% within the last 10 years. So that just gives you some idea of where we are at the moment.
And actually, I think that's a good video to do if you haven't done it already, about prices and how much price growth has happened in that area over the time. But I agree, it's having those tough conversations, whether it be price, whether it's on promotion, whether it's on presentation. It'd be one of those 3 Ps.
Yeah. So, our job, Stephen, is to educate the buyers, educate the sellers. They trust us. They don't know what we know. So again, that comes down to conversations and relationship building, in my honest opinion.
No, 100%. It is all about education. So what are you then doing to educate your local market on the social media front?
So I've actually approached Matt. We're due to do a marketing update. I've asked Matt if he can kindly do this one with me, but I think it's important to regularly update our watchers as well. Social media is a big platform. People are watching. People want updates. What's happening? What is happening with the current market that we're in? I think it's more of a consistency of being out there as well. Again, there's no point doing an update 6 months ago and then doing it. You need to be consistent with what you're doing. And it has worked. It's all about educating people, and sort of, any questions that anyone's got, they can feel free to ask us. It's not always down to a sale or, a new listing coming on. That's, I think, where we're different.
Okay, that's great. So going back to, we spoke earlier that you were at Clinton's as well, and obviously you had to look after 4 account managers. So what does customer service mean? And then obviously most probably had to deal with some not so nice customers at Clinton Cards. Again, how do you deal with challenging customers? What advice can you give to people?
With any sort of customer facing role you're doing, you are dealing with the general public. Everyone is different. There has been challenging times. I mean, going back to the days when I used to work at Clinton Cards as my first job, you can get stroppy customers moaning about prices and manners. It comes down to manners. Actually, I think, you just need to stand your ground. I always got told customers were always right. Whether they're in the wrong, customers always right. Go over and above. Just, they're expecting a conversation, exceed that expectation. So they walk away thinking, wow, you handled that well.
Okay, so can you give us an example of exceeding those expectations?
Oh, there's been quite a few, if I'm trying to think. I could give you an example when it comes to sort of like property,
Yeah,
what
please.
I'm in
That'd be
now.
great. Thank you.
So exceeding expectations. It weren't actually through sales, actually. We've got a lettings department downstairs as well. So this is coming back to an angry customer. He weren't actually a customer of ours, but he was actually complaining about a tenant, one of our tenants. He wasn't very happy with the noise and stuff he was making, and continuously he was calling, the office. He was frustrated. By this point, I actually picked the phone up and I calmed him down. And it was a matter of, look, raising your voice. When someone, gets really sort of irate and angry, it's coming down onto their level. Let's have a civil conversation together. We can then try and help. And when I say he was quite irrational, but within the sort of 5 minutes of me having a conversation, we got to where we want to achieve. He calmed down. We were both on the same page. So I think, again, it's also having confidence to have that conversation with someone, but that comes with experience.
100%.
Everyone's not, through the path of life that I'm in, I've come now. I've met people that are not very confident. I've met people that are very confident. It all comes down to experience and down to that individual person.
And how can you build your confidence up?
What's worked for me is chucking me into some situations where it's more, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And I've done it, I've walked away, and that wasn't as bad as what I thought. I'm being myself. Down to my first viewing, I look back at it now and, I'm being asked these questions, but it's, again, education. It's knowing what to say. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out for you and I will come back to you. I think especially estate agency, just be yourself. I think people do relate to it more. It's real.
100%. So look, I got a couple of comments. So we got a couple of people watching. So Glenn, it sounds like Kayleigh is a great example of being authentic, working well. We all want honesty and transparency. I really enjoy hearing those real life stories. So thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that. Demetrius, what do you do to manage repeat business? What do you do to keep buyer and seller as a customers? Do you have any KPIs on that? I don't know if you're able to answer that. If not, I will answer it. But so how do you manage repeat business? What do you do to keep repeat business?
That all comes down to relationship building and trust. We get a lot of repeat business. If you've had a good experience with someone, they're going to tell the next person. We've used, for example, Gigs and Company. That the customer service we got from that individual was amazing. All of a sudden, our neighbour wants to sell their house. Use Gigs and Company. It's all down to when you say you're going to do something, do it. Over communicate, and everything you do 110%.
Thank you. But what I found to answer that question is 95% of estate agents don't have a stay in touch policy, so it's quite scary. So most buyers, when they've bought, end up in witness protection. They never hear from their estate agent again. So one of the things, Demetrius, to answer your question, and you're very welcome to call me anytime and I happily have a discussion with you, is to make sure that you've got a proper keep in touch policy. And there's various different ways of doing that. It could be when a new property comes up in your area, you're letting know other people in that road that you've sold to or let to. Properties come on, and would they be curious to know the new value of their home? It may well be offering an annual health check. It may well be as soon as somebody moves in, 3 days after they've moved in, just giving them a call to make sure how they've settled in. So all these things are about obtaining that client for life. So Demetrius, hopefully that answers your question. Sorry, Kayleigh, anything else to add?
I was just really sort of to jump on that as well. These, when you say clients for life, some of these are our friends. That's the great thing about this. They're not just clients, you know, when you've been dealing with a said client over the years, and that could be through rentals, or they're our friends now. And that's, again, the relationship that you build from the first time you have that conversation with someone.
That's lovely. So a couple of final questions to end on, because I'm conscious of time, and I know that you've got your kids to get back to. So what do you do then? I know you've got the training with Matt, but is there any other podcasts, books that you listen to, you recommend that have helped you?
I listen to Matt's stuff quite a bit. It sounds like I'm a bit of a stalker, but actually I find it really inspiring. I learn a lot from him, and actually some of the questions I ask, I think, oh, is that a little bit of a blonde question? But there's never a silly question. Maybe if I'm asking the question 4 or 5 times, then, you know, but I think anyone that wants to get into this, do it. Ask the questions. That's how we learn. You know, there's no silly question. I think really the message that I want to get out today, you know, and I have had conversations with people, they go, oh, I'd love to do what you do. And then I sort of set expectations and say, I don't just put a key through the door and show someone around the house. Estate agency is such a bigger picture. That is the easy part. Anyone can do that, open a door and show someone around. It's asking the questions. It's understanding people's needs, their whys, and, you know, helping them.
100%. And that's actually a really nice place to end. And I just want to ask you one final question then, just before we end, is I totally agree with what you say, okay? But the general public's perception of estate agents is that's all you do. Put a property on the portal when you open the door and then you get a big fee. So how can you change that perception?
It's certainly not. There's just, you know, yes, we go out, we get the instructions, we do the listing, we do the property descriptions, we put them on Rightmove, we conduct viewings, we then get offers, we negotiate. It's all of the paperwork as well. When the offers, you know, the offers come through on the table, there's the AML side to sort of run through. It's a lot more involved, should I say, than what it probably was years ago. Our job is to vet every person that comes through. You know, make sure that they have got the source, the funds available, make sure they're in a proceedable position, make sure they are who they are by ID checks. It's a varied role. And, you know, I think if anyone is looking for a new challenge and they are a people person, definitely give it a go. But it is more than just sort of putting a key through the door and showing someone around a house.
There you go. I would love to see a day in the life of Kayleigh Manning going out there on video, saying to what everybody does, to your local area, here's what we do. Are you up for the challenge?
I would love to do it, Stephen. I really would.
Good. I look forward to seeing it. One final comment, Daniel, thanks very much for watching. So Daniel, you may want to speak to Demetrius. Daniel, you're very welcome to give me a call, and I happily speak to some agents and try and help you with what you're kindly offering with the logbooks. And Rav, nice to see you. It's hard to change perceptions when you have cheap as chip agents. So you have to demonstrate value in everything you do. Couldn't agree more. Kayleigh, thank you. I'm so pleased you sent me a message to come on the podcast. You have given loads of authenticity, loads of value. So thank you very much for your time.
Amazing.
People want to get hold of you. How do they do that?
I mean, can I give them my email address?
You
Or
can do whatever you want. It's up to you.
okay, so if I give you my email address, it's Kayleigh.Manning. So that's spelled KAYLEIGH .Manning MANNING @gigsandco.com. Please send me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Brilliant. Well, look, thanks for being amazing guests. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Really appreciate it. Please like it, share it, and get the podcast out there. I'd be incredibly grateful, and have a great weekend or evening or morning or afternoon whenever you're watching or listening. Thanks very much, Kayleigh.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
My pleasure. Bye.